The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Now, the author of The Path of Least Resistance and the Tech Insider, David White.
Good afternoon. Another gorgeous day here. It is Friday, April the 13th. On my way getting ready for the show today, I was going out on the highway. Air Force One was flying overhead with a couple of F-15s in tow. Kind of interesting always to see the president show up. I guess he heard that we were having a big workshop here at TFNN today and decided to drop by. Maybe he did. Maybe I'm making that up. We are having a wonderful ultimate money machine workshop here today at the headquarters for technical trading and investing. In fact, downstairs, they're going at it hot and heavy. As soon as I'm done with the show, I'm going to go down there and visit them. But we've got one more opportunity for you to do that. That's April 27th and 28th in Boston. And if you want a little bit of highly concentrated help, Steve Rhodes is doing those Master Trader work courses, and you've got one more shot at it here for the spring. Today is April the 13th. I talk about it probably every April 13th, that actually Friday the 13th it comes up, but it's not what you would actually think. Maybe we'll talk about it tonight on Tom's show, but it's it's basically just goes back to the Knights Templar and basically a king raiding and stealing all the money, and kind of some almost some neat prognostications by someone who is being burned to death and said, you're going to die within the year, to both the Pope and the king, and both of them were dead within a year. So it's kind of an interesting story if you want to go back and look into it. Maybe we'll talk about it tonight. Today, April 13th, every year, International Scrabble Day. I was never very good. I was dyslexic, and as we all know, dyslexia cure for found. But it is, I guess it's a wonderful game, kind of finding its second life in Words with Friends and some other new games on smartphones, or as I like to call them, smarty phones. On the radar, well, we got earnings next week. It's going to be coming hot and heavy. We've got a lot of stocks coming out. Banks will lead the way. I think there's 3 or 4 of the banks out next week, so we'll have a lot of that. But that's pretty much it. Earnings, and watch those banks. They're being kind of slammed today, but we'll have to find out. At movers today, Coinstar came out with earnings last night. They're up about 7%. The funny thing was, I kind of have a little device to kind of look at the text all day from and take the what is it? The it's closed captioning off of CNBC. I tend to have it on kind of about 15 feet away, and I'll look up every once in a while to see if they're talking about anything interesting. But I don't really pay that much attention to it to the day. But I do record the closed captioning on it, so I can go back and look through it real quick and see if there's anything I really should be aware of. But one thing I did notice yesterday was all day long, nothing but people coming out and telling the world that the Coinstar was at its end, and up 7% today. So bears were really wrong yesterday on Coinstar. Synergy Energy. Everybody knows LNG, if they're a big trader out there in the den. Fairly interesting, nice 8% pop. What happened? Feeling a lot of heat on energy, the Obama administration has decided to actually take a proposal that they've shelved for about 2 years for putting in a hub for natural gas in Louisiana and put it on the meeting schedule next week. That will be next Thursday. So take a look at LNG. Nice pop today. I don't know where the trade is. I'll have to watch it next week. But that hearing would be on Thursday, and the discussion now is that in an effort to make sure that they look like they are pro-energy, the current administration is going to force this thing through really quickly. And of course, that's going to be really good for is it Synergy? I can't ever pronounce that company. LNG. That's why they give us symbols. But up 8% today, and probably going to see a lot of pin action with it and other natural gas stocks over the next week. Infosys, INFY, it's off about 13%. Arch Coal had a nice little pop yesterday. Pretty much gave it all back today. ACI. The current administration, again, probably part of the energy policy out there, has pretty much put coal on a death watch. The EPA restrictions on it are going to make it just about impossible to sell most coal in the United States. Probably the only thing that's going to change that is a change of administration. So if you're looking for coal to pop back fairly decently, I suspect not. Probably going to, from what I'm looking at, you're probably going to see a lot of big contracts for natural gas and conversion to natural gas for electric power generation and heating next fall. So we'll have to look at that. But in the meantime, probably going to see natural gas go down to $1.50. At least that's what it looks like now. And continue to put pressure on things like Arch Coal. Intel, we talked, I think I made a post in the Den yesterday, maybe talking about Ivy Bridge. Ivy Bridge is Intel's new process for basically shrinking the components of a regular processor, and that's all they really did for the most part in this. There are a few neat features, but mostly they're going from 32 nanometer to 22 nanometer. A nanometer is about 8 atoms wide for silicon, and that give you some idea. There are about 200,000 atoms in a human hair if you looked at it from side to side. So we're talking really, really, really tiny little traces that hook everything up together in these small chips. The biggest thing is going to be the amount of power that these things suck. And let's see if I think I wrote it down here somewhere in my notes. Yeah, I mean, you're going to get about 20% better power and life, and probably really going to be the most important for laptops. Of course, Intel's been pushing their Ultra books as a competitor to Apple's product. Apple basically, they pretty much buy everything, not Intel except the processor itself. Intel wants more of that business for the companion chips and drive controllers. But Intel's kind of also pushing that there's going to be a lot more of their new drive interface connectors on the next version of their products. The only problem I can find out is that at $75 to $100, the cable that hooks these things up is ridiculously expensive. And until that thing gets down to some kind of decent cost, it's always going to be a problem for their Thunder, I forget what they call them now, the Thunder line. It's just an optical and electronic interface for drives outside the machine. Big push for Apple on those because they want to start making little servers out of some of the Apple boxes that they actually sell to actually put them in their own what do you call them, data center that's going to be in Maryland that they built about a little over a year ago. They're actually starting to move products in there and racks of these things. But for the rest of us, probably when you talk about a drive, a gigabyte drive now back under $100, it's kind of tough to think that you're going to pay almost that for the cable to hook the thing up. So it's going to be very tough to go. Anyway, failed IPO. We had 4 new IPOs that were coming out yesterday. The only one that failed to come out was Bright Source Energy Incorporated. This is the only one I was interested in. I actually said in the newsletter in the morning, but before or after 9:30, I think they withdrew it. Couldn't get enough people wanting to buy it. Bright Source is one of those companies that has built a lot of mirrors around a giant tower. You've probably seen these in the movies. They reflect all the light out in the desert, to a central point and heat up sodium until it's liquid, and that actually makes the power to turn a generator and make electric power. Bright Source was the last to really come out, and its failures hit a lot of other alternative energy stocks over the last day and a half, including one that I'm in. But it's one of those things where maybe it's getting to the point where we want to start looking at some of those alternative energy companies that actually will do well without the backing of governments, which is basically the only reason that probably 9 out of 10 of these solar stocks are actually still in business or barely in business after spending almost $55 billion. Oh, no. Is it $55 billion? I think it's almost $55 billion. About $40 billion of that has already been written off by our wonderful energy secretary, Mr. Chu, who hasn't found a company like this that he can't throw money at that won't go out of business within a year and a half of them giving it. But that's neither here nor there. But still, the weakest part of the IPO market, alternative energy. Apple is the rumor coming out now is there's a big French designer. He does a lot of furniture and lamps. I looked at his stuff, and it's a lot of weird stuff, but apparently he's a big mucky-muck in designing things for houses. Apple has hired him, and he says that Apple's going to have for Christmas a brand new product that no one else has heard of. And he's talking about 8 months, but it's basically a Christmas product. And it's kind of hard to figure out what this guy's working on, if he's designing a new box for something like an Apple TV or maybe a TV itself. But this guy designs like chairs and big industrial designer. And, of course, he's French, so he has to kind of give us his little French attitude. Apparently in the article he was doing a lot of that. But looking for a big product in Apple before the end of the year. Hadn't happened or helped Apple at all today. It was off $13. Pretty tough to actually see that the market's only down about 9 points on the S&P as we speak, almost 10 points. Volume has just been absolutely pathetic after the first hour of trading this morning. Let me see if I can pop that up and actually get a current volume. But I think we were going into like 12:30 or 1 and still hadn't tapped 2 billion shares on the consolidated tape. 2.6 billion now. That's going to come out to about 3.1 billion shares for today. Even yesterday's tepid bounce came in about 3.7 billion shares. So we're going to be about 500 million shares off into this pullback. 1375 look like fairly decent support. Hopefully I'm feeling that we're going to bounce in through expiration next week. Be back in a second.
Here's what people are saying about Tiger TV.
Let's go to John in Tampa. Hey, John, what's going on?
Hi, Tom. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You having a good day out there?
A wonderful day. I love your Tiger TV. I watch it every day. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, man, I appreciate you out there watching it. How long have you been watching the Tiger TV?
I'm watching almost a month now, and it's wonderful.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's cool. You see the charts and everything. Thanks so much for the hard work.
Tiger TV, a great news service from TFNN.com. TFNN is proud to bring you the cutting edge of investment newsletters. Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Ken is a top-down investor who lets price and volume in the major stock indices tell him when to be in the market and when to be out. By using his unique blend of fundamental and technical analysis, Ken will protect your hard-earned capital while realizing breakout gains. Go to TFNN.com today. Click Investment Newsletters and get Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks free for 2 weeks.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective. Direction Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, co-host of The Money Masters with Tom O'Brien, seen daily at TFNN.com, author of Mastering Probabilities, a daily investment and trading newsletter, and teacher of the money game. Studies show that 3 out of 5 people are afraid for their life in trading these markets, and the number one reason given is fear of loss. Look, fear stands for false evidence appearing real, and the money game proves it. Lesson number 1, don't risk more than 1% of your trading capital on any trade. Why, you ask? Because 35 trades in a row where you risk 50 cents and make $1 are all you need to double your trading capital, versus the 230 losing trades in a row you would need to bring your balance to $100. Let me teach you more about the money game risk-free for 30 days. Go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on my name, Steve Rhodes, for your 30-day risk-free trial. You were born to be a money master, and I'll teach you how.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by Goldfields. For more information, just click the Goldfields banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we come back, we're going to just talk about a few things that we'll be talking on Tom O'Brien's second hour tonight in the Technology Insider. Boeing's getting into smartphones. I guess your phones can fly now. Boeing and Bing are starting to charge for analytics. That was a little bit of what was out last night. Of course, everybody's talking about having a little or no representation buying stock. But as guys like us, we probably really never had a lot of power in the marketplace. Always the big guys of the street that owned a lot of it. I wonder if that doesn't actually give us a little bit more equal footing with the people on Wall Street. I'm going to talk maybe a little bit about what the tech industry has learned from the Apple e-book lawsuit. If you haven't heard about that, the feds are coming after them for price fixing. Apple, actually. Intel, we did talk a little bit about already. Ivy Bridge set to ship on the 23rd of this month. So I'm not looking at Intel having any big weaknesses anytime soon. AMD is going to have their new processors about the middle of May. No, we've had a few people call in about that to the show. Apple gets its first big Trojan, and Apple isn't very nice about it. And appeals court ruled that computer code, actually software, is not property. Well, those going to be a few things that we talk about. But, yeah, it's kind of be some interesting things going on there. Also, we got some dates now for the Facebook's IPO. It's been delayed by a little less than a month now with the Instagram purchase. Probably the interesting thing on Instagram is that they came out one day with their announcement that they had a new Android version. The next day they got bought by Facebook, and they're now saying since that all happened, they've got 10 million new users in about 10 days. So, sounds fairly interesting. And what is Facebook going to do with it? Anyway, those are some things we might be talking about tonight in the Tom O'Brien Show in the second hour for the Tech Insider. I wanted to get to some stocks that I'd been watching. While we don't have a lot of, probably huge signals, we've had some at least decent signals out in the marketplace. One of the ones I was looking at was AMAT. It's A-M-A-T. And, you had a nice low out here on March 5th, $11.92, 18 million shares. Got into that over the last few days with 13 million shares. And pretty much as long as we continue to close above that $11 and, what is that, 92 or 82? 92. You're probably going to have a fairly decent, at least support level in some of these semiconductors. If AMAT's given any kind of decent indication. Dry ships, I know everybody was trying to catch that. Tom's been talking about it on his show for a little bit. Actually not a bad-looking setup. A little bit more volume into the lows than you probably would like over the last few days. But it's bouncing around at these support levels and having a pretty nice consolidation, but I'm looking at this $3 level, February 23rd, $3.09, 26 million shares. I got into it with 8.5 million shares on March 14th. Got into it with 10 million shares on it on the 10th, and it's actually done fairly well off a few of these really horrible days. At least for the last three, it's continued to stay in that consolidation range that runs up to about $3.80. But you had a nice high volume day there with 68 million shares on February 14th, and I think that's what attracting a few traders out here in the marketplace. We're seeing some other of these stocks set up and trying to beat out a bottom on light volume. One of them is Equity Lifestyle Properties, another one of those ETFs in the real estate sector. What we really have is a kind of a nice heavy volume low that started on February 7th with 1.4 million shares at $66. Tried a few times to get close to it. On March 2nd, got to $66.29. Actually went below it, closed back above it, and the volume was very light. 390,000 shares on Wednesday. We've got a couple of days back above it. Looks like a lot of these stacks are going back in the trading range, and as long as we have light volume pullbacks like we're having so far today, probably not a big deal. But, 2.7 billion shares at the moment. Just not a lot to get too excited about. We're going to go through a few more of those stocks. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648. That's 877-927-6648. And we'll discuss your particular stock. But we've got a few more to go through here today that are giving some interesting signals. Give me a ring. Pick up that phone. Let's talk.
In just December of last year, the price of gold was down over 10%. In today's highly volatile gold market, you need someone in your corner that understands the complex relationships that exist within the price of gold, as well as within a variety of gold equities. Whether it's the South African gold miners and knowing how the Rand-dollar relationship will affect their bottom line, or understanding how John Paulson's $5 billion trade in the GLD can move the market, Tom O'Brien gives you the direction you need to become a a better trader each week in his newsletter, The Gold Report. With over 20 individual equities covered and almost another 20 on the potential watch list each week, in addition to covering the XAU, HUI, GLD, and dollar, The Gold Report is a great source for any trader that is looking to be diversified in today's volatile gold market. For your 30-day free trial to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report, log on to TFNN.com today. Don't miss out on this great offer. Act now. You've heard Tom O'Brien on the air, and you've always thought about trying out his newsletter, Market Insights. Well, now is the perfect time. For a limited time only, when you sign up for a 2-week free trial to Market Insights, we'll send you a free copy of Tom O'Brien's best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System. If you decide to cancel within the 2-week trial period, pay absolutely nothing and keep Tom's book as a free gift from us. Tom sends out his daily newsletter each morning by 9:30 a.m. with trade recommendations, including price targets and price stops. As recently as March 21st, Market Insights subscribers closed out a position for more than a 25% profit in just over 2 weeks. To get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights, along with your free copy of The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Supplies are limited for this one-of-a-kind special, so act today and don't let this opportunity pass you by. Offer only valid for new subscribers.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Smith Barney. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportion of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney believes that a carefully selected portfolio can lower volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what asset allocation and a Morgan Stanley Smith Barney financial advisor can do for you. Call Angela O'Brien, First Vice President and Certified Financial Planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC. Member SIPC.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pezzavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to TFNN.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
This segment is brought to you by Direction Shares. To learn more about tactical tools for the sophisticated active investor, hit the Direction Shares banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And as we come back, we have a caller, and it's Janice from Pennsylvania. How are you doing today, Janice?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic.
I'd like to know if you could look at Chipotle, CMG.
Okay. Take a quick look at it. So what do you got going on here?
Well, actually, I've been watching this for a very long time, and it seems to have gone up tremendously on light volume.
Yeah, it's a Kramer push.
Okay.
One of the ones that you ought to look at, and the problem is just knowing when it's going to die. Have you ever watched Soda?
Yeah.
SODA?
Yes, I have seen that stock, yes.
Okay, if you go back, and I'm actually showing it right now, you can go back and see when it fails. The problem is finding out when whatever stock that he's pushing every single night on his stock actually breaks, and that's the tough part. If you can ride them for a little while, but this thing had a huge sell signal at $370. It looks like support's going to be somewhere around the low 320 area when it does break, or even bigger. And I don't know. I've looked at the books and everything else and been to the restaurants. It's hard for me to figure out, but as long as people continue buying the shares, it really doesn't matter. And every day he's got, there's always these cult stocks. Apple's one, actually seeing it kind of fall off today. Priceline's been one. You get these stocks, and the problem is you wake up one day and they're off $50 in a heartbeat. But
right. I was wondering if this was more of a short squeeze on this stock.
I don't know if it's so much a short squeeze, although I wouldn't short it at all. And if you don't short $440 stocks, you buy puts on them. If you don't want to buy puts on them, then you don't play them, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It will say that you buy a put on this thing, and I haven't looked at the puts on them, but when I tried to play it at 370, you could buy a put on it, and I think it was 378. You could buy it for $10. So the most you were ever going to lose was $10 on it, right?
Right.
Okay. You could lose 40 on it going the other way. So when these things are like this, and the put price is so low, the only way I think you can play it is buying options on it. But I was pretty wrong when I tried it, and it just continues on, and every signal comes back out. But when you get a stock like this that goes parabolic, it is going to fail one day. The problem is being able to get in when it fails. Are you in front of your computer all day long?
Yes, a lot I am, yes.
I mean, you're going to notice this thing fail, and that's going to be it. One of the best things I've found to actually put on these, let me see if I can find it here for my overlay, is going, let's see what we have here, is a 3x3 displaced moving average. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can use a 9-day moving average. It'll be similar. But what you want, the definition of a parabolic move and then the end of it is somewhere between 10 and 15 days above the 3-day displaced moving average. Are you watching on Tiger TV by chance?
Yes, I am actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you should see this. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So you got about almost the right thing. It goes below it, it goes back above it, and then it closes back below it. So the next time you see it close back below the displaced 3-day displaced moving average would be a pattern called the double repo. And that's from Joe DiNapoli. And even without volume, it's a fairly decent pattern out here. The one thing I don't like is that you've had really decent volume the last 2 days compared to all the light volume on this way up. This kind of does make me think that there's a little bit more of a short squeeze going into this stock, especially into earnings. But if this thing, you might even have kind of a couple of days where it goes south on light volume or something. But your next trigger that I would like to see would be a close below that 3x3, and then your stop is anything above it.
If you don't mind, could you review that 3x3 that you were just talking about there?
The 3x3 is a 3-day displaced moving average.
Okay.
Put into the future for 3 days. So if you're watching, you can see that the trend line goes beyond what we're trading at today.
Okay.
If you see my mouse kind of over that line.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
that gives you what you want to see. So tomorrow, if it closed on Monday below 421.86, that would be a signal. On the next day after that, it would be 424.17, and all you have to do is average the last 3 days and put it 3 days into the future, and that's the number you're looking for. So it gives you a trend line, but it gives you the number out in front, which is one thing I like that's not in like a normal moving average.
Okay.
So we know that by next Wednesday, if this thing closes below 423, it's going to close below that 3-day displaced moving average. So
okay. Thank you so much.
But I mean, that's going to be it. But you're going to have some kind of thing like maybe a couple of days sideways. Maybe the market decides to fail. But if you go back and look at a lot of stocks and do this when they've gone parabolic, that's one good way. The other way to look at these parabolic stocks is a thing called the parabolic SAR. Have you heard of that?
No, I have not. It's parabolic star?
SAR.
Oh, SAR. Okay.
And you can look at that. That's the other way to really catch a lot of parabolic moves in the market. It's not going to be, if you look at it, it's going to kind of look fairly like the 3x3 displaced moving average.
Okay.
But you look for a close back underneath that also on parabolic moves. But on this one, I don't know if you can see it. It's actually kind of light.
Okay.
On the chart here. But it's kind of going to be very close to what that 3x3 displaced moving average is. But what you want is a close. It hit it on that low on April 4th, but then bounced back up above it. So a lot of times what you want to see is that thing close back below that parabolic SAR level also. But those are the two tools I've ever used to catch these parabolic moves. So you already know the numbers. If you can see some light volume in this thing, but you don't have that. Well, you're going to have you're probably going to have 800,000 shares today.
Right.
And, your last big major high out here was on March 27th with 500,000 shares. So, even if this is just a short squeeze, you're probably going to have a day or two pullback, one more test of that high. So if you could break 441, let's say like Wednesday, a volume comes light, and then it goes back below one of those kind of parabolic SAR or 3x3 displaced moving average, there's where you would have an opportunity to take a shot.
Okay. This has been very educational. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janice.
Have a good day.
You too. Catching these is, you may have to be a few times wrong to get them right. But normally, when you do catch them, they are going to look like soda. And that's kind of one of the prototypes for a Kramer pump. And if you look at it, I'm going to get into this one. You can kind of see that parabolic SAR on it. Let me go back to the 3x3 displaced moving average. And that's kind of what you're looking for in that up at SodaStream back when it failed. And that is you get a lot of days, and it's the technical description of it from Joe DiNapoli, who came up with it, is called a double repo. But they're not always as pretty as the book example would be, like a lot of things in technical trading. But you want 5 to 10 days above the 3x3 displaced moving average, very sharply up. You want to close below it. You want some closes back above it, and then you want one more close below it. So in SodaStream on 8/5 of 2011, you would have been able on that signal to pull it short. You would have probably also had some decent volume days. 1.2 million shares. Let's see, is that 2.8 million shares for the high on 7/7 of 2011. It came back and tested it with about 600,000 shares lighter back on 8/1. So that's kind of a good one to see. But Kramer pumps are like that. He gets everybody in it. And, of course, most of these folks are not people that sit in front of a computer all day long. And so it's a much tougher nut to crack because they're not there to get real nervous intraday. They always sell a couple of days later, like on this one where it dropped from, about $80 down to 50 before a lot of them got out on those high volume days back in SodaStream. But we'll go back and look at some other ones. Anyway, other stocks out here giving decent signals. We looked at AMAT. Dries, did we talk about that? I think we did. And Equity Lifestyles and EQT Corporation. Not very familiar with this company, but kind of an interesting pattern down here. Saw the low of January 20th, $46.04. 3.2 million shares. Came into 2.2 million shares. Did go below it. Has closed back above it. See if we're going to get that today, 46.32. So still going to be on the positive side of this stock. So this one actually not too bad. I love this pattern where you come down with heavy energy, which you did in the January 6th high down to the January 20th low. You get a nice pop, automatic, and then a long, nice, low volume retrace back down to the bottoms. It has been lower than the previous swing. It tested it on 2/3 of the volume. It's closed back above it. Not a bad company. I've got to actually find out about this one here. What is it? Auto printed lines profile. Let's find out about EQT. Operates an integrated energy company in the United States. Operates in 3 segments. Midstream distribution segment engages in the exploration, development, and production of natural gas. So probably one of those ones that may take a while to base out, but also does crude in the Appalachian Basin. But some of these actually looking like, it was up not too long ago, February 23rd, at almost $56. So kind of a nice range out here. Not only a nice gap up, it's found support on, but kind of interesting. So maybe the LQD, that was the gas stock we were talking about at the beginning of the show, might be interesting. A few of these shippers out here, Dries was one of them. Someone called in last night in one of the shows about Free Seas, which is another one of these shippers. This massive volume off the bottom yesterday did go above the high. One of the things that would have made you very nervous is it didn't close above it, even with the absolute massive amount of volume yesterday in this shipper. It has kind of pulled back here today, but maybe another one to keep on our radar out here of shippers that have a problem. We talked about AMAC kind of giving a short-term signal. We've got another one in Freescale Semiconductors Holding. That's FSL. Had a nice huge move off the bottom today. That came on, the last real move out here was on 1/18, so January 18th. It came up on massive volume and broke out above the original swing of $14.11. We've gotten back above in there. I don't know if we're going to close back above it today. It's going to be close. But this is not a bad-looking setup. You break above with a nice, huge volume, 2.7 million shares that day on the 18th of January. You've pulled back into that the first time on 1.6 million shares on the 10th. Got into it with 870,000 shares. Kind of a nice looking chart, but that's what you like to see in a standard Wyckoff pattern. Huge breakout, huge volume. You've got a couple of high volume highs up here around the $17.80, 60, 50 cent range. It's now started to do its consolidation back here at the breakout area. And if you probably need to close, probably look at it on Monday again. But Freescale Semiconductors, FSL, might be very interesting. But a lot of these coming back to their huge volume days into those candles and those gap ups. Thing could probably get down to maybe 1330 or something one more time maybe. But you got to be watching this fairly close. It's getting actually fairly ripe, and maybe there's better semiconductors out there, but certainly there's a few of them that are showing decent moves. We've been talking about gold maybe making a decent bottom. It's not doing too good out there today and pulling back, but some of these gold stocks looking fairly decent, and some of the silver ones. When we come back, we'll be looking at Quicksilver Resources on that. But again, like Janice, you can give me a call at 877-927-6648, and we will discuss your particular stock and maybe some other new technical ways of looking at some of these that have been huge parabolic moves in the market.
In the world of financial markets, there's a new player in town with an exciting new way to trade the markets. Nadex now offers binary options as well as bull spreads in a wide range of indices along with commodity and forex markets. With as little as $100, you can gain access to a new way to trade global financial markets while guaranteeing that your risk will always be capped. Nadex allows you to multiply your trading opportunities in ways never imagined before and access markets you once thought were out of reach. With short-term trading opportunities available, including binary options expiring each hour the market is open, Nadex allows you to take advantage of a variety of market conditions regardless of volatility or market direction. Now is the time to take advantage of this exciting new market. Don't let this trading opportunity pass you by. Open your account today by clicking on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Nadex, a better way to trade.
TFNN is proud to bring you the cutting edge of investment newsletters. Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Ken is a top-down investor who lets price and volume in the major stock indices tell him when to be in the market and when to be out. By using his unique blend of fundamental and technical analysis, Ken will protect your hard-earned capital while realizing breakout gains. Go to TFNN.com today, click Investment Newsletters, and get Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks free for 2 weeks.
Folks, turns out my best student became my best teacher. Steve Rhodes absolutely raised my standards, and I'll guarantee he'll raise yours.
Thanks, Tom. What I've learned is that if you want more, you must become more, and that transformation, folks, that occurs the moment you decide to become a master. Now, the quickest way to mastery is through immersion, and for 2 solid days in Denver, Boston, and Tampa, I'll create a new standard of wealth for those few trader investors who have a burning desire to succeed. At my Master Trader course, I'll teach you how to create the ultimate money machine. These are the best kept secrets in the business. Roadblocks, folks. Dabblers give up when they first appear. Stressors last just a little bit longer, but masters expect roadblocks and achieve extraordinary results when they bust right through them. I have all the benefit of knowing the type of wealth creation that I can generate for you. You don't. That's why I'm making this unconditional money-back guarantee. If for any reason you're not satisfied with my Master Trader course, I'll refund every penny. That's right. I take all the risk and you get all the benefit. Go to the homepage at TFNN.com and sign up today.
Put the power of the Chapman Wave methodology to work for you. No matter what market you trade, what time frame you trade in, or your trading style, the Opening Call, Basil Chapman's daily market newsletter, is bursting with the information and trades you need to become a more successful trader.
I've been using Basil Chapman's Chapman Wave methodology for several years now. His Chapman Wave can be used for any time period for not only equities, but futures, currencies, commodities. I've been also a subscriber of his Opening Call, which I find an invaluable tool to help me analyze the potential of the market each day. He gives you opportunities to go short and long. It includes recommendations on stocks. I strongly recommend people using the Chapman Wave, and I very, very strongly support the use of his Opening Call.
To find out more about Basil Chapman and his Chapman Wave methodology, and to get your 2-week free trial of the Opening Call, a $64 value, visit TFNN.com today.
Here's what people are saying about Tiger TV.
Let's go to John in Tampa. Hey, John, what's going on?
Hi, Tom. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You having a good day out there?
A wonderful day. I love your Tiger TV. I watch it every day. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, man, I appreciate you out there watching it. How long have you been watching the Tiger TV?
I'm watching almost a month now, and it's wonderful.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's cool. You see the charts and everything. Thanks so much for the hard work.
Tiger TV, a great news service from TFNN.com. Catch Tom O'Brien, founder and CEO of TFNN, professional trader and educator. Also a special guest on CNBC, analyzing the commodity markets. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
That is right. In about 12 minutes, Tom O'Brien will be wrapping up the end of day and the end of the week out here. His predictions for the marketplace. Kind of watching a market melt off to the end of the day today. S&P around 1370. Volume has just started to pick up a little bit, just a little over 3 billion shares. We did 3.7 or 8 yesterday, something like that. So going to be a light volume retrace into a weekend. A lot of nervous people, but we'll have to see how that works out. Earnings are next week. Taking a little of the froth off the market before earnings, not too bad. We talked about a little of them like Coinstar, some of these other ones where a lot of people, what is it, CSTR? A lot of people, if I can type correctly, it would be different. So we'll get back to Coinstar here. Nice move. Kind of came off its high out here, but certainly a nice little short squeeze. It has broken the previous high, 1.9 million shares on February 28th, $62.72. Broke above it. I'm going to have about 7 million shares. I would have liked to have seen that thing close up above, but Coinstar, kind of an interesting company in technology. The pro thing is that they're kind of the last buggy whip maker out here, and that they've got those kiosks for DVDs when everybody's going digital. And the question is, when does the tipping point come that they don't do so well? I personally still love getting the DVD and getting a Blu-ray instead of clogging the internet with a substandard picture for all the things I want to watch. I'd much rather have the DVD come back into the into my house. But kind of an interesting stock, but it is one of the ones popping up there today. We were going to be talking about Quicksilver, that is KWK. Some of these gold stocks looking fairly strong. Silver stocks too. We talked about, I think, PAS the other day. Maybe we'll pull that up. Getting awful close to some decent little signals. Quicksilver Resources, KWK, the February 1st low out here, $4 and what is that, 14 cents, 20 million shares. We've gotten below that, and they're going to probably close below that today. Let's take a quick look at it. But 4.9 million shares, so we're coming into that with about 25% of the volume in some of these. It kind of beating out a nice little bottom in these marketplaces. Let's see why I've got about a minute and a half. I think PAS was the other one we were looking at earlier this week. Some of these also making some low volume. Pan American Silver had still a little bit more volume on this one. December 29th, $19.93, 1.2 million shares. Highest volume we've had in these moves, 1.6 million shares. Still hasn't really broke below it. It's going to have some decent volume today and close below that $19.93 low. Most likely here. So got a few mixed signals in some of these silver stocks. I know Tom's probably going to be going through some of these gold stocks tonight. I see him in the bullpen warming up, and he better, because it's nice and cool in this studio today. There's certainly no extra heat. Just to remind you before we leave today, we do have Steve Rhodes doing his Master Trader courses. He is downstairs in our very building right now doing them. But if you want to, you can still sign up April 27th and 28th. And hang on, in about 12 minutes, we'll have Tom O'Brien wrapping up the week. And I'll be back in about an hour and 20 minutes for the Tech Insider. So you all have a great weekend.